one thing that the three of you have in common is that you have spent a fair share of your careers working on TV on really popular shows like Big Bang Theory, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., White Lines. So, in your opinion, what does Suspicion have to attract the audience or to differentiate itself from this huge amount of thrillers that are out there?
I mean, it's really good TV. Apart from anything else, like you're gonna love watching it. It's like you say, it is a thriller, but it also, we get to really spend time with these characters and understand their motivations, and it asks a lot of massive questions about truth and how it can be constructed by media, and then also on a very personal level how you can construct your own truth, and how morally ambiguous you can be at times, and all the little white lies we tell along the way to kind of be able to look at ourselves in the mirror. But then it also it deals with social media, and that's very much is so present, and it just feels like it's a contemporary thriller for now.
It definitely
really
feels
relevant.
timely. Yeah, I was going to add that it feels like this is the time we're living in, and it's definitely a commentary on that. But like Tom, you said earlier, it's not making a decision on it. It's leaving it out there for you to decide. One thing we don't talk about actually is identity. It also the show really touches on what is your identity, right? Because when your identity is displayed all over the internet for people to have at, what does that do to the story that you're telling yourself? And I think that's an underlying theme too in this show.
And in this exploration of identity, your characters are special because they are normal people. They are not like spies or great agents. They are normal people that are broke. Well, you don't know. You have to watch it.
Just stay tuned.
You are right, they are, and I think
Yes.
that's what hopefully people can see themselves reflected in some way. There's some facet of one of the characters there that they could go, well, what would I do if I was accused of that, and who would believe me and who wouldn't, and what friends might you lose? And this has been an unprecedented couple of years for everybody, and I think we've all gone through changes where we've kind of emerged differently and may have lost friends or gained friends along the way. And so it's kind of, if you condense that into a week with some cool fight scenes.
I've gained some friends.
Thank you, man.
And watching the show, I couldn't help to think about one of the most popular shows here in Spain and in the world, Money Heist, La Casa de Papel, because both shows talk about what in Suspicion is called ethical terrorism, I think. And do you think that the audience is more and more eager to see this loss of truth, of trust, or of faith that we have in the establishment represented in TV or other media?
Well, I think it does hold a mirror up, or it can hold a mirror up to establishments or the behaviour of certain establishments over recent times. And I think particularly in the West, right, that we've seen some really, what's the word? I don't know. Questionable behaviour.
I was just going to say questionable behavior, yeah.
I guess that it just poses a lot of questions that seem very relevant and pertinent to today.
Do you think that it's getting more difficult to trust anyone, not just the government or a company, just the people that you have that is sitting next to you?
It's funny, isn't it? Because we have such access, like the internet or social media gives us everybody a voice. Mm-hmm. And that you're asking a question like that, which doesn't seem like things can get sort of convoluted in such a way that still there's so much noise, there's so much info out there that it's hard to sort of separate the wheat from the chaff and know what's real. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't think we can answer it.
No.
And you can discuss it, but only we can answer a question like that. It's a very good question. It's a question which is actually the question the show really puts out there.
Yeah.
I guess that being a part of the show, you have thought about what if you went through that situation, but you happen to be public figures, you are actors, you are exposed to a camera all the time. Do you have the fear that you can be accused of of something that you haven't done, that you are going to become the subject of a trial in social media?
I think that, of course, there's that reality that can happen. I mean, you shouldn't, it's difficult to live in fear about that all the time.
Yeah.
But there is a reality, and it's an understandable reality as an actor or as anyone in the public eye, that at any point someone could snatch something away from you by just making something up. And that's just the nature of the times that we're in currently. And like you had said earlier, the pendulum may have swung one way, but hopefully it'll self-correct at a certain point also in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing that suspicion does, is it doesn't matter who you are. There's now nobody that is offline, you know, there's this kind of dirt on everybody, and once people start digging, every single person has an action that they took one time that they may regret, or that somebody else sees as wrong, but you felt like you were doing it for the right reasons. And so, you know, we're human just like everybody else, but this show really puts a magnifying glass on what would you do if, and it's...
We do live in a time currently, as we all know, where yes, maybe, you know, 15 years ago you did something that you thought was the right thing, and now you realize it's not. And if that gets brought up, how it can all just go downhill from there. So that's exactly what the show talks about.